Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, as the prices of goods continue to rise.
We're now going on the fourth month of inflation above the target.
And the inflation rate records a new all-time high.
We'll revise the inflation target. Oh yes, manageable. I've seen worse inflations.
Is the government doing enough?
Go back to March and April, there was already, the President was already giving instruction to deal with the problem.
Albay Representative and House Economic Affairs Committee Vice Chairman Joey Salceda joins us live. And later, a new vortex has been discovered in Saturn. Take a look on today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Cherry Mercado. Our top story, Senator Antonio Trillanes holds his ground at the Senate amid reports of his impending arrest. He maintains no arrest will happen unless there's an order from a civilian court. Our correspondent Anjo Alimario is at the Senate. Anjo, what's happening there?
Hi, Cherry. We're actually outside the Senate compound right now. We're actually near the entrance and we're waiting for the supporters of Senator Antonio Trillanes to be allowed inside. There are around 50 of them here, most of them wearing blue. And with me right now is one of Senator Antonio Trillanes' supporters, Josie Acosta. Hi, Ma'am Josie. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ma'am Josie, una sa lahat, bakit kayo nandito ngayon sa Senate?
Dahil po naniniwala kami sa pinapaglaban ni Senator Trillanes. No? We're here, of course, to support him, but also we're supporting his cause. We believe na yung arrest order sa kanya ay illegal. No? Hindi ho pwede sa Pilipinas ang warrantless arrest unless it is in the act of committing a crime. And we also believe that the AFP is here to uphold the law, to uphold the Constitution, so they should not carry out illegal orders.
And Ma'am Josie, should a possible arrest happen today, what will you do?
Well, we will do our best to make the arresting officers see our point of view.
And what will you tell Senator Trillanes once you're allowed inside and you're able to talk to him?
Well, you know, we've been talking to him for quite some time, no? Because he has been explaining the situation to us. He knows that we are here to support him. He knows that we understand the situation and that we know that he is in the right, and that is why we are fighting with him. This fight is not just for him, but it's also for all of us. Kasi kung pumayag po si Senator Trillanes, ibig sabihin, pwede na po ang warrantless arrest sa kahit kaninong Pilipino.
Thank you, Ma'am Josie. Again, that's Josie Acosta, one of Senator Antonio Trillanes' supporters. And Cherry, in terms of security here at the Senate, of course, it's quite obvious that they're implementing a very strict security here. But we haven't seen any movement here, no police or AFP team arriving here at the Senate. But of course, except for the usual security detailed here at the Senate. But of course, we're still going to monitor the possible situation here if a possible arrest will happen today. Cherry.
Anjo, in terms of the supporters of Senator Trillanes who are there right now, what is your estimate? How many are they? And are there also people there gathering in support of his arrest?
Well, so far, Sherry, we're seeing just the supporters of Antonio Trillanes. There are around 50 of them, but we were told that more supporters of the senator will be coming over here, and they actually have a plan already because they will be doing shifts in order, of course, to maintain their stream of supporters for Senator Trillanes here at the Senate. So they'll be doing this by batches, Cherry. So more supporters are expected to arrive here as the day progresses, Cherry.
This, of course, Anjo, after hearing the possibility of the arrest of Senator Trillanes this weekend. Thank you, Anjo Alimario, reporting live from the Senate. Meantime, lawmakers are urging President Duterte to fire his economic managers. This after the country records a 6.4 inflation rate in August, the highest in 9 years. But questions remain if the government is taking the necessary steps to cushion the impact of rising prices of goods and services. Let's go straight to the source of the story. Albay Representative and House Committee on Economic Affairs Vice Chairman Joey Salceda. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Magandang umaga, Chair.
Alam mo ito, ang storya rin ngayon, yung kay Senator Antonio Trillanes. First, let me just ask you, how do these political stories or turmoils like this affect the economy?
Siyempre, mas arrest inflation ang mas priority.
But do these, ngayon nakafocus ang gobyerno dun sa kanilang effort to arrest Trillanes. There's a
I think the
column.
national attention has that capacity to focus on both. But definitely, kung papipili mo ako, unahin ko inflation.
Mas importante kasi ito lahat ng tao nakaka-experience ng gutom. Unang tanong meron ba talagang food crisis? Is there a food crisis right now?
Food price crisis, yes.
Food price crisis.
Yes,
So yung
that's number
supply
one.
hindi kulang.
Yung rice kasi alam na natin yan, kulang noon pa eh. Ever since there is about, I would say, nung kay Presidente Gloria pa ako, 2.4 million na ang structural deficit natin. Bakit? One, hindi nanganganak ang lupa. In fact, yung competing uses, mas lalong dumadami. Then dumadami ang populasyon, tapos dumadami rin po ang mga ibang pangangailangan katulad ng infrastruktura. Kaya marami tayong right-of-way problems sa infrastructure. Pangatlo, may
Nag-aagawan
climate
sa
change.
lupa.
Naging intensify ang climate change. Katulad ng first 2 weeks ng August. Tapos hindi na bumabata ang mga magsasaka. Wala naman po yung mga kabataan, ayaw naman pumasok sa agrikultura. So pag titingnan mo talaga yung agriculture nominal in peso term, is only 9% of GDP na lang.
And to think nung pumasok si Pangulong Duterte sa pwesto, gusto niyang gawing rice sufficient ang Pilipinas. Hindi ba? Yan yung isa sa
Hindi
mga
ko
sinabi niya. Although later on, sinabi na rin niya na parang hindi natin kakayanin.
It's too expensive. It's too
But
expensive.
are we not focusing? Kasi ito yung mahirap na problema.
Opo.
Yung agrikultura. Yung actually empowering our farmers to produce more rice for the country.
Kasi
Pero
yung-
ito yung hindi pa natutugunan, tama ba?
Kasi dahil nga po doon sa dami ng skandalo na nangyayari po dyan sa sektor na yan, halos lahat, Napoles, etc., nandyan po talaga. Parang daw po yung mga economic managers na lagyan ng pera yan eh. Kasi baka lagyan mo, mawala lang.
So ito yung pinaka-vulnerable na sector, pero ito rin yung pinaka naaabusong sektor when it comes to
factually,
corruption.
it's the unintended consequences of those scandals. So, pero yun din po ang epekto na hindi natin gusto, na wala kang anihin kung wala kang tinanim. So yung public goods investment natin sa agriculture, tagal na kasi dati nasa 6% of total national budget, ngayon nasa 1.5% na lang.
Ng buong budget ang nasa
budget.
agrikultura.
Opo. So, kailangan po siguro magkaroon po ng, let's say, more targeted and more, masabi natin, maingat na kumaga mga instrumento na pwedeng gamitin para maiwasan po yung mga nangyari noon. Pero at the same time, kailangan talaga natin lagyan ng pera ang agriculture. Lalo kasi may mga public goods na hindi gagawin po ng private sector kasi ba't ko naman yan gagawin? Marami ang gagamit yan. So pag ganyan ang sitwasyon, gobyerno dapat ang gagawa.
And of course, you're in Congress and you're
Opo.
deliberating the budget right now. Sinasabi nyo nga na bumababa yung budget ng agri, no?
Opo.
Meron pa ba tayong pwedeng gawin sa
Marami po.
budget para madagdagan?
Because pag tinignan mo yung MDP, yung Modified Disbursement Plan, na present sa yung cash-based budgeting for 2018, kasi ginawa na nila eh. Halos 417 billion po yung tinignan ng ating pong national government na hindi na matatapos. So 417 ko sa 3767 billion o 3.767 trillion na yun, nabawasan po yun ng 417 billion. So may savings yun.
Anong pwedeng gawin sa
Piliin mo lang
budget?
yung mga sabi natin, unang we need to confidence building at the same time addressing it. Unang-una siguro mechanization. Kasi Para mas may konteksto natin, it is the duty of the state to feed its people. Ano yan? Non-debatable po yan. Human dignity yan. At strategy po ng government to keep food cheap by lowering the cost of production of farmers. Kasi comparatively talaga, uncompetitive po ang ating agriculture. Pero for the past 10 years, since 2018, wala na tayong nilalagay sa agriculture. Gawa nga 2008. Wala na tayong nilalagay na pera sa agriculture.
So in your stand, tweak the budget right now?
It can
We
be
do
tweaked.
that.
It can be tweaked. Halimbawa,
Dagdagan ng about how much?
At least yung kaya pa rin nilang i-absorb, mga 30 para po sa
30
billion.
Billion.
Opo, kasi
Dagdagan ng at
470
least
naman.
30 billion for
470
mechanization.
naman po yung ano eh. Siguro, babalik lang yan sa 2.2%. Which is
Instead of
actually
1.5.
which is actually the 20-year average ng agriculture to total budget. Pero pag may crisis, anyway, mamaya natin pwede pag-usapan doon kung paano nagamit yung budget para pumasolve ang crisis yung panahon ni Presidente Gloria. Pwede natin ilagay sa small water impounding kasi kung ilagay mo yan sa national irrigation system, ang tagal nun, mga 3 to 5 years yun. So, yung pwede ilagay po sa incentive para gumamit po ng new technology like hybrid rice. Kasi from yung ordinary po 4 metric tons per hectare lang yan. Pero po yung hybrid nakaka 7 metric tons per year. Tapos kahit gastusan man lang yung mga municipal agriculture officer. Kasi anong nangyari po doon, dininvolve natin yung agriculture, yung mga tao. Yung DA, yung pera nahiwan sa DA, lalo pang lumaki. Yung mga LGU naman, wala namang fiscal capacity na masuportahan yung agricultural goals ng national goals. So, may yung generals, walang army, yung army na. So, pwede natin pong tulungan po yung mga, at least mabigyan natin isang motor. Alam mo, isang motor lang para sa akin, kung may gagawin ako, bibigyan ako ng motor lahat po ng mga
Kagaya ng ginawa niyo sa Albay.
Agricultural extensions.
Okay, we'll continue our discussion. We'll move on to the inflation rate and making people understand why are the food we're buying now more expensive? What can we do? Do we blame all of this on government? Is there something that we can do ourselves? This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Coming up, we still talk about the countermeasures proposed by the government to fight inflation. Congressman Joey Salceda will still be with us after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Albay Representative Joey Salceda. So ipagpatuloy po natin itong, let's first look at the figures on inflation on this year. Mula Enero hanggang ngayong Agosto, of course 6.4% surprised all of us. Ang unang target lang ng economic managers for the whole year.
2 to 4.
In the beginning, nasa 2%.
In-adjust sila sa 3.5.
In-adjust sila sa 3.5 and then they adjusted it to 4 point something and then now they're going to adjust it again.
They have to, but unfortunately, kinakain yan yung GDP growth.
What is
Kasi
your...
pag yung deflator tumaas. So yung nominal lumalaki pero yung deflator tumaas din.
Okay, we'll...
Sorry parang...
Oo nga kasi kailangan din natin talagang himayan because
Maintindihan,
it's very technical, no? But what is your reaction on some camps, no? Congressman Danilo Suarez asking for the resignation of the economic managers?
Hindi man siguro. Nagkataon lang po yung I've sat in the cabinet before and there was this what you call constructive tension.
Constructive tension.
Kasi pinurso din naman nila yung EO na gusto sana, pinopropose namin. Kaso, hindi po nangyari kasi nga napakataas ito po nung highly contentious.
So you don't think it's time yet for them to resign? Do you think they're doing enough though?
Ay, magagaling po yan eh. Betchokno, Dominguez, at saka may tiwala ng presidente. Yun ang importante.
But what should they do now?
Well, definitely, actually, pag tinignan mo yung new measures nila, kasama na po yung mga proposals namin. Essentially for import more rice. For now, siguro, for 2019 na yan. In the meantime, meron tayong window between now and October 15 before the harvest season na wala talaga. Wala talaga. Kasi pag binalikan mo yung kay GMA, 6.6% yung inflation noong March 2009. Pero by July, naging 0.1%.
How did you do that during that time? From 6.6 na ibaba
Binuhusan
nyo?
ng bigas.
nag-import din
Opo,
ng
pero
bigas.
there was already a precautionary importation. Kasi nga sabi ko, alam mo na yung structural deficit ng Pilipinas. Dati po, mga 2.4 yan. Noon pa, 1.2 NFA, 1.2. Siyempre, through the Southern Gateway na sinasabi, di ba? Sinaran po yun ni Customs Commissioner. Kaya talagang bigla naging obvious na may structural deficit tayo. It's also really a supply problem. Supply side.
So kayang gawin ngayon? Tingin
Alin
nyo,
po?
do you have full confidence with the economic managers na kayang gawin? And when can we see a turnaround? When can we, sa inyo dati, 6.6 to 0.1?
Numerica, we can start seeing that 6.4 falling, start to fall. Actually, this September, magsi 6.1 na lang yan eh. Same prices, pero yung numerator, last year kasi pumutok na yung electricity prices eh. Pinasok yung feed-in tariff eh, sa Meralco prices eh. So, bababa po yung inflation. Numerically, pero it will be the same price levels. Pero I would say by January, mahirap kasi magpababa ng presyo.
So ngayong Pasko, mahalang bilihin.
Mahirap kasi gastos ng gastos yung tao. Eh. So, yung demand talagang lagi nang malakas pag during this the world's longest Christmas season.
So ito yung aasahan natin ngayong Pasko, mahal pa rin ang bilihin. Mahal ang, of course, Noche Buena.
Pero pag binabaan po nila yung siniro ni tariff nila ang meat, yung corn, yung fish, at saka yung vegetable, siguro. Baka magkaroon,
If they do the right moves from
because
now on.
ito pong sinasabi namin, hindi lang po doon sa presyo ang epekto nito yan. Kasi may mga nag-aangkat na. So bababa yung cost of production niya kasi yung tariff mawawala, di ba? So at least papasok po yun sa consumer price index. Pero ang pinaka-epekto po nito, it shifts the supply curve to the right, which means na it compels incumbent players to behave reasonably competitive because if they don't, then they essentially incentivize the entry of new players. Kasi kumbaga sa pag pinamahal nyo pa yan, papasok na po kasi tinatanggal natin yung tariff and non-tariff barriers to entry, basically. Dito po sa mga produkto to. At saka philosophically, why do you tax food when it is the principal duty of the state to feed its nation? And it's being done also
to protect the local producers.
Tama rin po yan.
Oo.
That's why we need to balance. Kaya ang sinasabi nun, for the next 6 months, habang nandito po tayo, dumadaan tayo sa problema,
Wala muna. Pwede nyo munang tanggalin.
Tsaka ang dali naman ibalik eh. When we return to Congress by January, the President,
Pwede namang ibalik.
just before the President can issue another EO.
Kung kakausapin mo ngayon yung mga tao, no, address them directly. What can you tell them na ngayong mismong sila, anong gagawin ko, Congressman Salceda, na hindi ko na mabili yung dating amount ng pagkain na nabibili ko? Should I panic? What do I do?
We should address it is the burden falls on the government and to the private sector. Hopefully, I will appeal. But that's also persuasive. So I don't know how do you persuade them because essentially they are there to maximize profit. So they exist to maximize profit. So the end of the day, hindi naman kasi pwedeng sabihin, huwag kayong kumain ng bigas. Diba? O magkasakit na lang kayo. O magkaroon na lang kayo ng malnutrition. Therefore, magkakaroon kayo ng stunting. Magkakaroon ng intergenerational transfer of poverty. So, marami pong epekto ito. Yun mas worry ko po eh. Kasi ang inflation na to creates more poor people and more malnutrition. That's basically po the net effect. So, pag tinignan mo halimbawa yung FNRI latest na National Nutrition Survey, actually, yung cereal sufficient na household is only 31%. Kaya pag tumataas yung income, nag-grow ang economy, unang binibili ng tao ay bigas. Yung po hindi na ipapasok po sa masasabi natin projection. So, this problem can only be addressed to the government.
Gobyerno ang may kapangyarihang mag-address nito ngayon.
Opo. I cannot demand any sacrifice from the people. Like, don't go to Mang Inasal.
What about no hoarding? Is that something that, na para sa
natural,
mga iba?
no hoard ang ibig sabihin.
nakakataas na inflationary din daw ang hoarding?
Opo, kasi you take out supply from the markets.
Lalong nagkukulang.
Pero it can, pag naibaba mo presyo, susuka din yung mga yan. Ibig sabihin, hindi sila mamimili kasi, mababa na presyo, mahal naman yung pagkakuha ko nito. Pero why do you have to penalize the household? It's not their fault. Those are behavior that are quite normal, I would say, and na for families to ensure the food security of their own children. I mean, so why will I fault them for not hoarding? The hoarding of the private sector can be, that's where
Yun ang
law.
dapat talagang
Again,
parusahan.
it is law enforcement. I cannot rely on the private sector.
Kasi
to
sabi nga, there's smuggling. Smuggling is rampant, but so is scarcity. Di ba? So nasan yung supply? May smuggling,
yung
pero wala.
noon. That's why prices were not spiking. Because there is a scarcity of, kasi structurally, saan ka pa hahanap ng lupa para tamnan ng ating pong lahat ng mga pangangailangan sa pagkain.
But Congressman, am I getting you right na ang sinasabi nyo, hindi naman dapat sibakin o umalis sa pwesto yung mga economic managers?
Nilaban po nila to kaso, the following day, nakita mo na yung mga headline, di ba? DA slams economic managers, di ba?
So may pagkukulang
there
din
was a
kasi
grand
ang ibang
debate
mga
inside the cabinet. Of course. Kasi the first day of the speaker, nandun po economic manager during the presentation of the budget. And napag-usapan po yung mga measures kailangan. Yung ano po noon, nasa 5.2% pa lang yung inflation.
But you have also said that this is self-inflicted.
Self-inflicted dahil hindi mo ginawa yung dapat na kailangan mo nang gawin. Halimbawa, kung talaga ang problema, kung suspect pero sa presyon to, mag-hoard ka ba?
May kapasidad ka bang mag-hoard?
Hindi naman. Yung private sector, basically, yung dysfunctional elements ng public sector, bakit ka mag-hoard? Sa ganda ng presyon to, hindi mo ba ibubuhos lahat yan? Wala man may buhos kasi masyado magaling ang ating customs.
So, sino yung mga hindi ginawa yung dapat nilang gawin?
Dapat kasi, napag-usapan po sa yung pag-reduce po talaga ng tariff sa food. Because a tariff on food imports is a tax on food. So, why penalize?
So, rice
Halimbawa, sa
tarification,
Bicol, bigyan na kita para kung gaano kalala ito, kung bakit number 1 ang Bicol. Yung rice sa Bicol, isa sa pinakamataas sa buong Pilipinas, 12.5% increase. Pagdating po sa corn, up 18%. Pero ang pinakamalala and the highest in the country is vegetable, 27% increase. So, wala naman sa amin yung bagyo
27%.
Wala naman sa amin yung baha. Kaso, di ba, galing yan, usually we get it from usually we get it from Divisoria or directly from Baguio, kung saan po yung ating vegetable basket, di ba? So, you can immediately, pero tingnan mo rin how government policy impacts this number. Pagdating po sa expenditure education, negative 22%. Kasi napakarami po ng mga Bicolano ang naka-enroll po doon sa free tuition. Negative 22.2%. Actually, one of the highest in the country. Ang ibig sabihin po, marami po naka-enroll sa ating po mga suks-luks sa buong Bicol.
So, dapat ba, like for example, itong sa train law, na magtataas pa ulit ang tax sa gasolina, should we suspend that? Are you in favor of that?
Unang-una yung sa ngayon, yung bago.
Yung bago, yung darating sa 2019.
Clear naman po yung batas na pag dumating ka ng 80, nasa 76 na yata ngayon yan. So, kung ganyan pa rin ang erratic ang behavior ni Trump, pararating yung trigger na mapupospon po yung...
So right now, you still don't think that we should
Kasi
suspend
nga po ganito
the oil tariff?
Inangat po sa pump prices 15. Yung dinagdag lang naman ng train to 75. Mananagot ba yung train para sa 12.25? I mean, train did
So
not...
what other things do you think should be done now?
Actually, dalawang bagay lang yan. Nasa food at nasa food at saka nandun po sa electricity, fuel, nandun po yung dalawang inflation. Yung fuel and gas and electricity, basically, dahil umangat po from $47 to $76 yung ating pong pag-angkat, 99% po ng langis natin ay galing po sa abroad. At yung piso po mahina from 49 naging 53.80 kahapon. So talagang aakyat po talaga yung presyo sa domestic market. Pero sa pananaw ko, siyempre, magiging bukas po ang Kongreso. So kung sakali po talagang if the other elements, and I think in the meantime, however, ang sinasabi nga namin, unahin natin kung pwede nating gawin na hindi mo kailangan dumaan po sa napakahaba kasi ng proseso sa Kongreso. So,
on that note, Congressman, we'll just take a short break and we will be right back. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines and our guest today, Albay Representative Joey Salceda. So meron pong mga nagtatanong online, no? Mga kababayan natin nanonood ngayon kasi malaking balita pa rin itong kay Senator Trillanes. And this kind of political scenario, does it help? It doesn't help the situation we're in now?
Static yan eh. Hindi naririnig. It definitely, kailangan it doesn't help in clarifying the issues or in clarifying the issues and focusing the national attention really on addressing this more primordial issue of food security and of course the lives of ordinary people.
Do you think that the government resources will also be compromised? No, that it should
be. We have that capacity really to essentially. I think we have both the will as well as, of course, I trust that the intellectual capacity of our institutions.
Kaya naman yung dalawang issue. But do you think there should be like an emergency measure to address this food price?
So far, kanina tinanong mo kasi na kasi yung 6.4% na yan, that's more than double the average inflation na nasa Philippine Development Plan, which is 2 to 4. Therefore 3%. So definitely it's a worry. But can it be managed? Yes, it can be managed. Are there measures? Yes, there are very definite measures.
Thank you very much, Albay Representative Joey Salceda, for joining us this morning and sharing with us your thoughts. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Cherry Mercado. You're watching CNN Philippines.